parlor experiences, okay? He's a weird guy. He's a weird individual. And, you know, anytime it comes to this, like, weird Islam arc, like, hey, you know, I'm getting better and all of this stuff, he does stupid shit like this, which, in any normal culture, any normal group of friends, is completely irredeemable behavior. He's a weird guy. And even his apologies, like, he made an apology today, didn't even address any of the stuff that I, like, talked about with the weird Discord, like, let me flex to my 8,000 child-friendly audience on Discord that I kissed a girl. Like, what kind of weird, like, incel shit is that? God damn! But yeah, Fujitsu, weird character. And honestly, it's one of those situations where it's just, like, it makes me, like, mad. Like, if you ever, like, this is me, like, at my peak mad. I'm not yelling, and sometimes I have to laugh to stop, like, the actual, like anger really coming out. That's what it comes down to. Fujitsu is one of those characters where, like, it's a long time cooking, you know? He's just one of those types of characters that I think is completely irredeemable. That's why, like, I never bother to make any video on, like, people like Boogie2988 or anybody. Because I think these people are weird. I think these people are, like, irredeemable. I think the actions that they do are just so weird. I don't know, when you're on this platform, personal connection, I don't want to sound parasocial, people do develop personal connection with people that they can directly comment to. If you comment on this video, I'm going to read it. When I see people act like this on the internet, it really does make me legitimately, like, festeringly mad. And that's why I have to go on long drives like this, because it just clears the head. But yeah, Fujitsu, completely irredeemable character, man. Like, unironically, one of the, like, just scumbag behavior.
It's not even like an escape the event horizon. How do you think you'll escape me?
Thanks for being a great engineer. Thanks for being a great entertainer, P.O. Box.
Here's a good
As you
spot to
can
touch
see,
down.
it's a fucking Kirby Metroid. I collect these. Right, used to when I lived in Kansas, but I don't have space for them anymore. Oh shit, this is. Should I leave this in the box? This is a nice one. It's got a sparkly box. Yeah, I think I'll keep this one box. This is the one. Most of them I open them up, but it comes with all those space plates. Oh shit! Wait, this is. It's like that orange large thing I have that means that everyone else sneaks from me. Oh my god. We'll see how long I should keep this in my possession before like 10 different people work. Oh my god! Oh yes. The sand hat. Then there's the front. Oh, it's just like a I don't know what this is. I guess you like put it on the wall or something. Thanks for the Kirby blanket. Maybe I'll have like a button to it so it can be closed up like the Mario one. Oh shit, it's another one from David. Okay, there's 2 vacuum packed motherfuckers in here. But it's so fucking cute! What the hell? Bro! Look how fucking cute he is! Holy moly. Over here. Cute. Oh wait, I think this one's actually different from the one that I have. This one's bigger. All the fucking things on it. Very cute. Thank you, David. Car register. What? What? Certificate of registration. Let it be known to all that the star residing at the astronomical verified position of RA1.114 and destination .45.10 was hereby named for January 3, 1998 as Emerald. The name is permanently filed in the registry's vault and copyrighted with the star register with all rights and privileges there too. Meow. Wait, what? So I have a star? There's a star in Emerald now? That's me. And then there's a QR code. That's cool. Thank you. I like how whoever did this just wrote like we're supposed to be like from mom and dad or something. They just put meow. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh cool. Yeah, you can name and register stars. Cool. Thanks, Meow, for the star. stream on the star. The idea is to take a IRL trip to RA 1.114. So this is like constellation. Is this like, if you have a telescope, this is like you found it or something? Ollie can tell you that.
You out here?
Astronomy, not as okay. You know what I meant? Like okay, like when you like. You guys ever have one of those horoscope girls? Anyway. Mark from David. Mark from David. Mark from David. Orange. I guess. Shit, I was right. There's a Kirby sack for storing items. Mini, and then motherfucking socks. This is good because I just ran out of socks and I have to go to a DDR tournament, which means I have
crawling
to
up top.
because I like playing DDR without socks or shoes, but if I do that on those machines, I will probably get fungus. Now I have a bunch of socks. This is a good one. Your Doritos crate. Don't steal your crisps. Oh god, he's British. From Mike Delta. Let's go. Customize. Oh god. Oh god. I've never set a code on a lock before. It seems like a lot of big brain work. Okay, but the problem is if I put a lock on the Doritos crate, not only is it gonna inhibit people like Russell simply, but it will also inhibit me because I'm really fucking lazy. I'll be like, yeah, but if I want the snack, I have to unlock the crate, so then I just won't eat it. That's good. My fucking snacks. Can we less Doritos in here? Say. Oh. New Slippies? Oh, wait, these ones look totally as fuck. Holy shit. I did need some new ones because I actually destroy slippers because I wear them so much. They get really uncozy. I'm stepping on Kirby. Dude, these are so comfy. Thank you. Whoever sent the Kirby Slippy. These are good. This one. Woo! Wait, this is sick. Kirby and he's sucking up Yoshi, Luigi, and Luigi's cart. A bunch of Mario stuff. That's cool. He's what? Bro, you know what I meant. Like how every PO box in my room gets slightly more unhinged looking because there's just more Kirby stuff. And then when people come over, they're like, oh wow, you really like buy and collect a lot of Kirby stuff. And I'm like, no, actually, it's just like stuff I PO box. Right. Of course it is. But it actually is. Need to invite over more thieves. I never figured out what the hell was going on with that. I don't know if anyone actually stole any. I don't think that they did. Or if they did, I probably gave them permission. Or it was Techno. In which case, I'm just gonna steal something back from his house. So it's fine. Super cute. Thank you for the shirt. Emerald Spicy Winner. New last name just dropped. Still somehow better than my real last name.
Enough lambing around, we drop
It like didn't register in my brain for a second. Oh my god. Oh my god, so if people don't know their hallucination, I see this cat in my dreams that he's half tiger and half watermelon, and in the last dream that I have about him, a couple people that I know ate his entrails, and I was fucking devastated. I woke up crying. I've had dreams about watermelon cat for literally like 2 years, so I was fucking terrified, but just thank you for this. I love him so much. He's so good.
Alternator here. The battle happens quick. Be ready.
Oh my god, I'm so happy right now. No, but in my dream, it doesn't look like that. His body is like orange, like looks like a tiger, and then it like transitioned into like watermelon stripes on his stomach, and it's like a real watermelon. Dude, what the fucking wrong with me? I'm so sorry that I just like. I'm so sorry that people have to listen to me. Wait, it's actually for you. Oh, Spicy one. You're welcome. Thank you, Spicy. That makes a lot of sense. I was like, Spicy Wiener. Why is that?
Got an extended
Thank
energy
you,
mag
Weather.
here. Triple
Shift to
energy ammo
Emperor
here.
Squirrel. Oh shit. Wait. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Shit.
Holy crap.
New kill leader. Go on, watch out.
I see pop-up. I have a couple other pop-up raid figures. I feel like this one I have to unbox because I can't even see the dang thing. I gotta open it carefully. I'll probably save the box for this one. I used to save the box for all my figures, but I just don't have space. Oh god, it's got that new figure smell. It's got fucking plastic, like factory plastic smell. How's bro? Thank you.
We're all inside the ring. Good.
Oh god.
Following a lead.
Empty
Here.
macaroni arms and empty brigatini gun. David. Bro, you got me a shake weight. Oh my god. Not happening, bro. It's practice from Israel. Okay. Looks like some handgun art. That's happening. Shit. Hi, Amaru. I watch the shows often because I'm the one in it, so I really enjoy them. Overall, I love your content, so I drew you fan art. Hope you like it. Twitch name,
Man here.
Bashy Bashy. Dude, look at this handwriting. Oh my god. That's some artist handwriting. This is so good. It's a color pencil, and this is the TK Twitch. Monkey's on, or not Monkey. Campers on my head. Monkey. Bean. Got the purple. That's another Kirby file with Steak and Ace podcast. And Dimples there. And Cochita. This is cool. Hello? There's a bunny slipper.
Level 2.
Oh, look, he signed the back. If I said right, Yoav? Thank you, this is beautiful. I feel like I should frame this, not just stick it on the wall. I will frame this and find a place for it. Thank you, Yoav. This is sick. This is beautiful. And you have very nice handwriting, which I've always had dog shit handwriting. Oh shit. Red from Scipio AD. And your loafers. Red shoes. Red shoe. Red cut. Wiki. These are sick. Oh shit. New Kirby for the pod. Sacrifice. This is a good P.O. box. Shit. This one's from Sweden. Since you like gummy bears, I'm sending you a flavor you definitely haven't tried. These are Styrker Magstar. Strong teddy bears, Icelandic salty licorice gummy bears. Please enjoy. Parentheses, even though I doubt it. No fucking way. Are you serious? Regards, Oscar from Sweden. Oscar again. These look fucking vile. What? Okay, is this mold? Please tell me this is mold so I don't have to eat this. It's tall. When I realized this was sealed, I just kind of went through the opening. Oh my god. That actually hit me the fucking top. It looks moldy.
I have no regrets.
Oscar, why would you do this to me?
We're spread out a lot. Watch your paths on the map.
So fucking salty, bro. That is literally the saltiest thing I've ever tasted. That's the good part. No, this is the kind of salty that it's so salty that like your chest hurts when you eat it. Dude, who would eat that on purpose? Oh. It's a New Year's package and it has a $5 donation in it. This is so awesome. Being a kid and getting red packages from all my Asian
Off the squad head.
just raking in the money. Bulldog, artificial spicy chicken flavor ramen. Quattro cheese. I've never had this one. You're Asian? I have Chinese. What the hell? Munetama bracelet. Cute. I love the fucking Eggman. Some hand soaps. I don't know if they're trying to say that I'm a dirty bitch. There's like a burrito hand soap holder. Very cute. This is probably good to get the licorice salt smell off of my hands. It's actually still making me nauseous a little bit. No more soap. Oh no freaking way! Vampire blood! This is my favorite soap flavor. Yes! I have one of these other Miku I don't know where it went.
Tension's looking up.
Look at it. And the tights are...
Need to recharge my shields.
Thanks, Oscar. Too new to debut anew.
Patching myself up.
Too cute to deja vu. Who you pew 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 pew. Who are you in blue ado? You are who in lieu of who. Two clues a crew. Ooh. Two tissues for Kuru from who? Then there's another. This is, are they riddles or prophecies? Much ado about nothing, it would seem. Let it fade away forever until all becomes clear to me. From who? And here's the other one. Okay. Did this person send me like a bunch of sponges last time or some shit? Because I definitely remember the poet. They just sent me 16 personal carry tissue packages for Riddler. Well, I will never have to wipe my nose on my pants again. Thank you for this. This is a heavy package. Wait, no way. Hey, Emmy, with your recent history of hallucinations and this talk of the siren demon, I thought you might need something to remind you of home. You can also take comfort in knowing that this siren is in fact real. From David UVA. So, VIP David also sent me. There's multiple Davids. There's too many to keep track of. Tell me this isn't like a tornado sirens thing. What the fuck? No way, bro. No.
Rings closing in one.
Far ring. 45 left.
You can base boost it. Okay, it's actually a volume knob. It gets really loud. Oh, hamster's fine. So, what is this for? Like, when would you use this? So, thank you, David. VIP David. Yeah, it is a little bit comforting knowing that. So, is this what they do every Monday in Kansas? If you live in, every Monday at noon, they play the tornado sirens to make sure that they work.
Please hide in someone's room and use the sign. Go out into the hallway and do it full blast.
Got enough of that. Peace and quiet. Now it's hidden in the corner.
There's a cat package coming down.
Hey, little soup sipper. Hope this makes it to your P.O. Box stream. Just want to show you some love and appreciation for all the content you put out for us. I moved from LA to Oklahoma. Oh no. And mostly work from home and watch stuff online. Low-key been a little depressed. It's hard to make new friends since I'm a chronically online gamer / shut-in. But watching your stream and random OTK stuff has helped me a lot. Sorry if that sounds weird for a social, but thank you. It's my birthday. 8/21. So I hope this makes it to the next P.O. Box stream. Happy early birthday. My Twitch is @DavidRocks. How? Shout out to @DavidUVA because he gifted me a sub. All love, homie. It's another David. And he shout out David. Yeah, the David multiverse. There's so many of them. So there's some Armageddon Sunships in here, my favorite. And some Garden Salsa Gun Tips, my second favorite. These are the good shit. I will probably devour these in like less than 48 hours. It's a unicorn rubber duck, and I'm not sure if this is a soccer ball. About like X or pentagons on there. Some rubber ducks, and a mysterious bag. No way! What? It's a DDR mini arcade machine. Cool. Original music tracks, 3 levels of difficulty. So it's an actual game. It seems like a collectible. Should I open this? Can I play without opening it? Oh, you need 3 AAA batteries. Oh, they're included. DDR for hamster? Okay, there's 3 songs. Try to start it. I can't figure out how. Oh shit. Where's the notes? Oh shit. This is so cool. Dude, I gotta let Captain file. Use your foot now. Yeah, for you.
Enemy down.
She's not doing the moves.
Enemy shield. Another enemy down.
She failed. It's okay, Hamster. She's a little stage shy. No, she's a so bad about. No! No! Oh, loser, didn't even press one button. That hamster sucks. Apologize right now. Why would you say that? Look at her face. She's just a little shy. Why are you being mean to her? Apologize.
I'm hurt.
Apologize.
Using Phoenix.
Hamster delivers better content. Yeah. But I mean, who could deliver better content than the hamster? Thank you, another David, for the DDR thing and the chips. This is awesome. I will definitely play this my free time. This envelope has rabbit stamps. I've never seen these before. Rat stamps. Doggy air freshener. I have so many air fresheners for my core right now, it's crazy. And it still doesn't smell good. I wonder why. Sick. Thank you. Penguin sticker. Oh my god. It's one of the Valorant Peak stickers. I can put this on my camera. Oh damn.
10 seconds, the ring's just ahead.
Oh, there's a Gojo one. Severeski? Brand. Thank you. What? Oh, another victim for the pile. Hey, what is this? What is this for? For
Looks like a
birds?
care
I don't
package is
think
coming
so,
in.
because
Big
it's like a
things in there.
plush. Box? Oh, maybe. What's the book for? You're so stupid. What is this? Hanging tissue box. Oh, so it is for tissues? Is this for like the square kind? Okay, I understand now. Like that, right? But not the package.
That way.
Is that good? It looks like he's puking. Well, okay, so this is not going. Where can this go? It's wood, right? Tissue box holder. Yeah, it's for the back of the car. Or your couch. There's a JanSport backpack in here. Oh shit! And there's stuff inside the backpack. Mystery Meow surprise figure. I'll open that up. Soy deliciously cute and good. Top ramen extra comma collectible mini. And kind of a dog eating a piece of pizza. And oh shit! There's 2 Tamagotchi. I'm really good at taking care of them.
Why the fuck did you guys run away from that
These are
fight?
so fucking cute. This one looks like one of the ones I had when I was a kid. Sick. Wonder why the fuck's that supposed to be? This is awesome. This is vibe. I've been really enjoying the Steak and Eggs podcast. Sign up for the Patreon. Signed up for the Patreon. The extra content is great. Vote Cosplay Clash was amazingly great. Hypers. Enjoy the tiny themed bundle of gifts. It was a blast finding cool stuff for the P.O. Box from Hybrid Gonzo. Here's to spending your taped in alcoholic days in good spirits. OTKM room, Lamau XD. That's super cute. Thank you, Gonzo. And Gonzo's a regular in the chat. Oh, what the fuck? Gonzo? What the fuck is this?
Care package.
Gonzo is your name also, David. There's so many hands in here. Oh, it's a raccoon! Snuffy. When I opened that pouch, I was like, fucking jump scared. The hands and the Snuffy. So, these are the options I could get. There's the Chicken Lounge, Chicken Dance, Soy Delicious, Pinky's Up Recipe, over easy recipe. And then there's the scallion sail, can I keep recipe, relax recipe, and stuck recipe. Why does his ass look like that? Alright. I have him. I'm hoping for a chicken one. Chicken dance, preferably. I should get into like magic or Pokemon cards or some shit. Actually, no, I shouldn't.
Contact.
This is so cute. What is this? This is Pinky's Up Recipe. Cute. This is way bigger than I thought it would be, too. Mystery meows. How does this relate to being a furry at all? So there's cheeseburger cat, donut cat, unicorn cat, taco cat, French fry cat, dragon cat, mermaid cat, and fairy cat. I want French fry, cheeseburger, or taco cat. I'm so happy. He's French fry. He's a French fry. He's a French fry. Look at him. He's a French fry. I was trying to see what country this is from. Can I see customs declaration? Soap. I got spoiled by customs. But I thought that was funny. Oh shit, a box inside a box. It does smell bad. I'm not really sure what to write, but I found some stuff that I want to share with my favorite emo Twitch streamer. A copy of Black Parade, bought when the album first came out. Some cool novelty heart-shaped wrappers. A couple bags of tea that tasted pretty good in my opinion. Some British candy.
It would have been better if you had 3 of us there.
Thanks for being a great engineer. Thanks for being a great entertainer.
So-
Holy fuck, I need to go offline. I can't read from Morju in chat with two J's. She thinks she's an engineer, more like I wish I was. Oh shit. Airborne deep sea cleanse natural soap. Medium grit. Exfoliating sea salt and volcanic humus. Oh wow. Do a sneakadoodle bite. Oh, this looks like nice soap. Taste it? No. I don't actually eat soap. No, that's a good bar of soap right there. It does smell really good. Oh shit, so fast. I just want to like sink my teeth in it, but I actually want to eat it. Wait. Why does this one actually taste kind of good? Describe taste. It was like morally. Anyway, Barat refreshers. Art tablet, fruit flavored fizzy sweets. Alright. Billions. Bubblegum flavored millions. Oh wait. I was got the smoke taste just now. It was like stuck in the cracks of my teeth or something. Oh, sour Skittles. Jack and tea.
Eventually, you gotta pull the trigger.
Some good shit. I will definitely drink these. And My Chemical Romance from when it was released. Wow, look at that. He's even got the sleeve. And the insert. Wow, look at that. It also smells like soap. Thank you, Morgan. Awesome thoughts. Americans can vote wherever they are. Did you know that service members, their families, and overseas citizens can vote when they leave from their voting residence? FBAP.gov. How to vote from anywhere. Register and request your absentee ballot at FBAP.gov. How do you have this? That's customs? That explains what customs puts this in people's shit. Okay, not only was this in the box, this was in the bottom of the box. Like, they took out all of the shit and then put this in the bottom. Well, thank you, American government.
Enemies drop down near me.
Float from NFSJ. Well, in cat from NFSJ. NFSJ. So there's cat, and then there's float. Oh, these are cute though. Wow. It looks like Bunky from the Violet Machine, because Machine looks like Bunky. At least to me, maybe I'm delusional. And Loaf. Wow. Gray blobby who looks like Bunky. Well, yeah, that's not gonna be up. As Bunky does the surgery, she's doing just fine. She was only lethargic like the first, like, 1 to 2 days. I just the water from that. What's wrong with you? A cooking stream from Protein Parody with a cute little flexing emoji that got cut off. And wait till you see what this motherfucker sent me. The Gourmet's Guide to Rabbit Cooking. 124 rabbit recipes from 1859. 1859, motherfucker. Oh my god. Rabbit served cold, bro. No. You're cute. No. We're not eating rabbits. Alright, there is one package left. Ooh! File folders. All these freaking Kirby's up. Holy shit, look at that one. That one's fucking chunky. There's a bunch of other stuff in here. Shit, another file folder, but it's, you know. And another one, it's Aki. Yo, been a part of your community for about a year and a half now, and I really love your streams. I recently returned from a semester-long exchange in Japan and wanted to send a couple things I picked up during my time there. I went to a capsule toy store and picked up a hamster and a few Chainsaw Man themed things and a poster and envelope holders, question mark. I actually don't know what they're used for. There's also a couple Kirby themed things. I hope you enjoy them, such keep up the great streams. From Keanu Kent in chat, although I don't type much. Yes, been loving the Steak and Eggs podcast. No shit. There's some long posters.
Make some new friends and then destroy them.
More Humano. Cool. Kirby Band-Aids! I'll use these next time I get a bug bite. I do pretty often. It is disgusting, I hate it. And one last thing here. The capsule toy. I don't know what it is. What is the hamster? Oh! It's a fat rice ball hamster. Wait, what the hell is that thing in the middle? Cute and fat. Is seaweed? No, I know, but he's meant to look like a rice. No.
For my love.
Talking about the fat, like, what is... Why does... You see what I'm saying now? But he's very cute. Thank you for the hamster. Thank you, Kinu. Oh god, my room does look like a hoarder room. Genuinely, compared to my previous PO boxes, it's not that bad. But yeah, I went through all packages. I think that was like 40. Thank you guys, it's very fun. I will do the PO box things.
Destiny 2 is a game that I have a very interesting relationship with. It's a relationship that I think teeters on being abusive. Like, the Stockholm Syndrome is hitting so deep that I can't help but keep coming back, only to constantly have my ass beaten by the developers, Bungie. I get punished for wanting to dive back into Destiny 2 and sink a ton of time into again and grind it out and enjoy it. I come back once a year to Destiny 2, my old mistress, thinking things have changed, thinking that they've changed, because they have a shiny new piece of content, a brand new raid that puts stars in my eyes, and I can't resist the urge to get back into the grind and go for world first. That is still, to date, I think the funnest activities I ever do in gaming annually, which is go for world first raid completions. We never even come close, of course, and sometimes we've only ever completed the raid on day one a single time. I'll get to that in a moment. But the experience in Destiny 2 of raiding is unlike anything else. With friends, it's some of the most memorable moments in all of gaming for me. I just love it. But the big problem is, that's about all they have. They do one high-effort content push per year, if that, for Destiny 2, and everything else is just filler, tedious chores, or just complete and utter neglect, with a smile on their face and a middle finger to the community. It seems like most of their focus throughout the year is spent on microtransactions from their Eververse store in order to nickel and dime and shake down people for their lunch money with cosmetics, and not fixing things that need fixing, not addressing things that need addressing, not even listening to community feedback or the player base, and just going complete radio silence until here's the new expansion and you guys are gonna buy it. We know you're gonna buy it, so get ready to buy it. I hate that this is kind of what Destiny 2 has become. I want a reason to log in and play and grind. I want fun things to do in the game, but there just really isn't. Now, I have always said Destiny 2 has so much potential, the most potential out of pretty much any product on the market. And not just from the PvE standpoint, but it also does have PvP. And the PvP could be great. It could be so much better. This is Bungie we're talking about. They made Halo 1, 2, 3, and Reach some of the best fucking multiplayer games there are in the FPS genre. They could make Destiny 2's PvP an absolute fucking powerhouse of a shooter. But they don't put even a single iota of effort into it. I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not special. A lot of the community is feeling betrayed by Bungie, even more so now than ever, thanks to their most recent post on the state of the game, where it's just such a fucking nothing burger, like a complete empty calorie sandwich that has nothing to do except just say, like, hey, this game development shit's not easy, so don't expect too much, and here's our plans for the future, and it's just really underwhelming. I don't know if they're just keeping big stuff close to the chest and they don't want to reveal a lot in their State of the Game post, but it's still just alarming because they don't really do a whole lot for the game throughout these seasons. For those that don't know, Destiny operates on a seasonal model. It's supposed to be getting like an influx of content at different periods throughout the year, but really the only thing that ever actually has any substance to it is when they release either a dungeon that they finally put effort into, or their new expansion with some big story moments, big story missions, and a raid. A shiny, nice new toy for everyone to play with and everyone to come together and try and tackle the hardest content Destiny offers. At least that's how it used to be. This is a controversial take in the Destiny community, but I'm just going to say it out loud and scream it from the mountaintops. Their most recent raid in the Lightfall expansion was a joke. Root of Nightmares was a raid that me and my team completed in 5 hours, and we are a team that has literally never completed a raid on day one ever until this one. We are a team of casual players. I have probably the least amount of hours out of my group. I have close to like 1,000. Most of the others are between like 1,500 and 2,000, maybe a little bit more. But we usually never day one complete a raid. And for Root of Nightmares, one that we were so fucking excited for, we did it in 5 hours, and it just felt really deflating. Because we love the challenge. Like, there's a sick joy to banging your head against a wall in a really tough encounter for 16 hours until you finally get it. That euphoric moment when everything clicks and you complete the encounter it's so triumphant. But in Root of Nightmares, it was really, like, underwhelming. It felt really half-baked. Usually in raids, each encounter is a whole different ballgame in what you have to do in order to overcome the challenge. Of course, mechanics are borrowed from previous encounters, but they're expanded. They're given more and more depth. So you'll learn a mechanic in encounter 1 of a raid, and then you'll use that mechanic in encounter 2 in a different way, in a deeper way, in a totally different application of it. In Root of Nightmares, there was really only 2 mechanics the entire raid that never really changed. They were just rinse and repeat. They just kept copy and pasting the same mechanic over and over again. It was super, like, phoned in and lazy. There's only one good encounter in Root of Nightmares, and it's encounter 3 with the plants. That is a fun one. That is what we would have expected the raid to be like, where it has these really interesting encounters that have a lot of depth to them, but it's the only one. It's the exception in Root of Nightmares. Everything else is the exact same shit over and over. It was just sad. And usually world first races last quite a long time, even for the best teams in their game. But this one was still completed in only a handful of hours. It was so fucking quick. Also, I wasn't exaggerating about the 16 hours on like a single room. When we did Deepstone Crypt Day 1 a couple of years ago, we actually spent 16 hours in the second encounter until we finally got through. And it was fun. Like, we still look back on that fondly. And in Root of Nightmares, we literally took a 3-hour break. So it was 5 hours total, but the entire time was 8 hours because after the first 2 or 3 hours, we took a 3-hour break to watch the Moist Esports Valorant team play. Then we came back and then completed it in like another hour and a half, basically. It was so underwhelming compared to all of the other Day 1 raids that we have done over the years. And let's not even get started on the campaign. The Lightfall campaign was a joke. They forgot that there was supposed to be a story in the Lightfall expansion. They literally forgot the narrative. So, you know, I won't even get too deep into that. Point is, it seems the direction Destiny 2 is going is one that the community is not excited about. And it seems like it's one that's entirely either fueled by greed or laziness or a combination of the two. Because most of their effort is spent on cosmetics, it feels like. It seems like that's where most of their resources and team is allocated to, is anything like microtransactions.
What?
related.
Come get this guy.
That's
He's
how I
hurt.
and many others feel. And less on like actually improving the game or adding meaningful content or meaningful updates to it. It's fucking sad because this game has like the highest potential out of any product on the market, in my opinion. Just straight up across
He's
the
hurt
board.
right here.
This game has
He's
the
in the
most
corner.
fucking potential. The gunplay is extremely satisfying.
Went out the
builds
door.
are extremely fun and versatile, except for Warlocks for a while. Pretty much all of us were using Starfire Protocol because you could use it for pretty much everything. But for the most part, the builds are extremely versatile. They have their own unique niches that they can fill in raids and tough encounters. And there's just so much variety to the gameplay itself, so much depth. It's just such a beautiful game, too. Everything is so nice in Destiny and feels so fucking good. And when they actually put effort into the lore, like they did with Witch Queen expansion, the story was great, too. Obviously fumbled with Lightfall, but it has all of the building blocks of a fucking masterpiece. The only thing it's missing is a development team that cares about it. Like, it's sad. It's fucking sad. And instead of, like, putting people's mind at ease with this state of the game where it's like, look, guys, we know we've been dropping the ball, but here's what we're going to do. We're really going to put our foot on the gas pedal and go hog wild and deliver the Destiny 2 experience that you guys really want. Instead of doing that, they instead release, like, the worst fucking summer book report of nothing about the direction they're going with the game and what they're adding to it and what they're doing. It's just, like, it's so flat. It's so flat, which made everyone pretty upset. I went over it on stream, so I'm just going to play the stream clips for you. But I know most of you have probably been mesmerized by what I'm wearing here. This is the newest Moist Global anime hoppy coat. You can find it at moistglobal.com, as well as many other items in this anime-inspired line. So definitely go to moistglobal.com to check these bad boys out. Did you see that the Destiny community is pissed at Bungie for their State of the Game article, where Bungie basically went, yeah, game development is hard, so we have to do the bare minimum. Please buy the final shape. Now look it up, though. That sounds very on-brand for modern Bungie, unfortunately. Destiny is a game with the most fucking potential that is never realized because Bungie's too lazy. That's so fucking frustrating. My name is Joe, I'm the game director of Destiny 2. Right now the team and I are heads down on making sure the final shape and the seasons leading up to it are incredible, so for the rest of this update you'll be hearing from a bunch of different voices that all contributed to this mid-year state of the game. I wanted to start with a quick thanks to all of you who have been playing Destiny for so many years. The way you play and feedback you give us is a huge part of how we shape our plans, and it's an honor to log in each day and play in this universe alongside all of you. Is this the major complaint? Most frequent feedback we see is that there's just not enough new PvP content, specifically new maps. Was the maps the big issue? Because I remember when I was grinding for fucking Recluse, the big thing I hated about it is the PvP is so half-baked. So dreadfully half-baked. There is so much they could do with PvP in that game if they just gave the slightest fuck about it. That is a major complaint, but not the biggest issue in the game. Oh, no, not in the game. I just meant in terms of PvP. Yeah, they've made no maps in the past 3 years. We have a Vex network-themed map debuting alongside the new Relic 6v6 game mode. The gunplay focused checkmate modifier for multiple modes, a new competitive Ascendant Division emblem, and more. Solid and efficient pipeline. Someone with 4K hours in the game, the community is pissed at the state of the game because they basically say that 2/3 of the game is irrelevant because of manning issues. Basically told the community that we are lazy, so we're not going to make new stuff that much. Oh god, wait, they have Gambit in here.
If you need it, I can get it.
Ew.
Anything for
The
me.
update better just be, we're removing Gambit. We know this is long overdue, we forgot it was in the game, we're getting rid of it. As many of you have noted, we've been quiet on Gambit that launched alongside it. Revamped made significant changes across 5 categories in Gambit. Core activity fundamentals, primeval tuning, invasions, animal company, and boards. Unfortunately, these updates didn't move the needle for player engagement, although we know our Gambit fans... Stop lying. No such thing. Although we know our Gambit fans mostly care about new or returning maps, this is an area of the game with lower engagement that would take resources away from more popular parts of the game to shore up. While we don't have plans to dedicate more resources to significantly transform Gambit, we do have a few... I thought they were about to say we're getting rid of it. We do have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape. These include porting the Cathedral of Scars map and its beautiful dreaming city. It's if it's still here, Jesus Christ. Just get rid of it. Even you Even you can't help but admit this is an area of the game with lower engagement that takes resources away from other parts. Just get rid of it. Put it down. Just fucking put it down. Oh my god. You don't update it, you don't touch it, it's fucking boring. Just you get rid of it. That'll free up like 40 gigabytes off of the 200 gig download or whatever. Okay, so in summary, PvP got no real update.
We're all inside the
New map comment didn't go over well. Gambit is getting one ported map from 2018 and that's it. There's some quality of life changes which are good, but that's about it. No major impactful changes. Fucking huge. So what's the statement they made about why they're so inefficient at releasing anything of value into the game? The game development hard sentiment.
new kill leader.
Do you agree that Destiny 2 is the best gunplay art style of any FPS and that's why it's still relevant? Not only that, it's the raids. Their raids, and even some of their other content like dungeons, are so incredibly creative, fun, and fulfilling. But then it's sandwiched in between such tedium, greed, and like misdirection. It has so much fucking potential, yet they put no effort into it. This is something my friends and I talk about a lot. A lot. Like, a great example is Root of Nightmares. We were so fucking hyped for Root of Nightmares, and we completed it in 5 hours day one, which we've never been able to do before. Ever. We have never day one to raid, and we did that one in 5 hours. They're not putting effort into it. To set expectations, our studio structure is built to support more overarching updates to PvP like the ones above, rather than focusing exclusively on maps. When we do focus our resources on building new Crucible maps, it comes with a trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidths on work that contributes to a variety of experiences that players also hold dear, such as a new story or exotic mission content, core activities that make up the foundation for each season, or new destinations. Similarly, bringing back reprised maps also involves extensive porting to the latest version of Destiny 2, which requires additional resources to ensure the maps work correctly for multiple game modes and playstyles for years to come. So that's what they're basically saying, like, game development's hard and we don't have real bandwidth because we don't know how to manage our teams.
Another squad down.
It will get better, they just need AI. Yeah, they're just holding out for AI. Why actually
Thanks
work
for the
on
help.
managing a team of people when they can just have AI do it for them? They said in the press conference a while ago they were quantity over quality, and we don't do it because the players will expect.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Did you get the statement? Did they want quality over quantity? Because they've done neither. Regardless, like I don't even know what the statement was with that comment, but regardless of quantity over quality or quality over content, they have literally done neither. They also said the final shape in its raid will provide a climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga, probably due to the Lightfall backlash. Well, they forgot to put the story in there. They literally forgot to put the narrative in the goddamn expansion. So yeah, hopefully this will provide something. Some kind of plot. Have you given up on the game yet? Again, this is a game with so much fucking potential that is just constantly unrealized. It's criminal. Do you think Destiny would be in a significantly better spot with Activision still being a part of it? It seems the game went downhill once they split with Activision, and Bungie has fooled us into thinking it was Activision's fault. That's something Jackson and I speculated on back and forth. The short answer is I have no idea on how things work behind closed doors. I really don't know. But you're right. The game has definitely gotten worse since they've been apart from Activision, which is unfortunate. But I don't know how much Activision did to help them. I think they just lost direction, most likely. Like, I don't see Activision being the thing that was making Destiny 2 good. Activision provided High Moon and Vicarious Vision to do major expansion. So were they actually like hands-on with providing like direct support to Bungie for those things? Maybe they were really helpful then. I guess not knowing the actual relationship between Activision and Bungie during development, the only thing I could see as like a positive with Activision involved is they would 100% ensure Bungie is actually working on this game. Whereas right now I feel like they just go into the office and literally play beer pong and then go home. Like, I don't know what the fuck they do all year on this game. They make, like, one decent piece of content with a raid every year, and that's it. Like, what the fuck do they do in between? I've seen a lot of people say that. Did they actually make that statement about not over-delivering because they don't want to set expectations too high. Because if so, that is so fucking embarrassing. Oh my god. If you haven't read the GDC 2022 conference, it's definitely worth a read. No, I haven't. I'll check it out. So 3,700 hours in the game, people are shitting on it way more than it should be. I don't know what the backlash is, like, the scale of it. All I can say is that even as someone who only has, like, I think close to 600 or 700 hours across console and PC, probably more than that. But it's very frustrating to see how little gets added to it of value, and just how comfortable they are phoning everything in and going through the motions without any real content. That's why I don't actively play. I have no reason to. Do you think Destiny can become another Anthem? No, it's never gonna, like, fully, like, fail or anything. Destiny's too big to fail. I don't think that'll ever happen.
So recently I did a video where I repasted my Falcon Northwest DLX personal laptop that I got, so I could finally have just a non-gaudy gaming laptop that looks nice and is from a brand that's been around for decades. Not sponsored, the video wasn't sponsored about repasting, neither is this one. But they did reach out to me and they say, hey Jay, we saw you repasted and got some good temperature results. Maybe they're actually investigating now using KPX for their laptops too, because of the fact that they use KPX already in their desktops. But they warned me, they said, hey, do us a favor, keep an eye on those memory temps. Because of the Clevo cooler that's built into these ODM laptops, there's so much variance in how twisted they may be or the kind of contact we might be getting. I might be having great GPU temps right now, but I might be murdering the memory. So now we're going to do that and test that, which, to be honest, I should have just done the first time. Hey, Jay. Jay. What? We got work to do. Yeah, I'm playing World of Warships. World of Warships is the free-to-play naval strategy game where you command the most iconic and famous warships from World War I and World War II, recreated with stunning detail and accuracy. Build your fleet while participating in various game types while upgrading your ship's arsenal along the way. New players who sign up using my link below will receive an exclusive starter pack to get you up and running quickly by receiving 7 days premium time, 1 million credits, 300 doubloons, and the Tier 5 premium ship, the Exodus. So what are you guys waiting for? Start sinking ships with World of Warships by heading to the description below and getting your freebies. Okay, so for monitoring, you guys might remember last time we used their built-in control center, which would show us, you know, our fan speed, and it would show us our clock speed and temperatures, and their GPU clock speed and temperature. And when it says off, it's going to switch to the Intel internal graphics. Anyway, I don't even need this now, other than the fact that I have to recreate the testing scenario which I had before, which was lifted up the back of the PC. I don't know why only Asus came up with a somewhat similar design, which is when you open the lid with that.
Hi, I'm Emmy, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here or you clicked on this video from recommended, please don't forget to subscribe. It helps my channel, and I really appreciate it. I have a Corvette and still can't get bitches. I had one, we broke up 4 months ago. So she's single? Or tell her to call me. You sound gay.
Pull that handle, this is going to come down in front, and this is going to make it flip when it's done. When it flips, that is first step. Perfect. So first step, all good. We can pull that out. And now we are basically ready to head over to station 2.
By the end of this, we'll appreciate why they're so expensive.
You can handle. So we're going to take that little accent ring. And then there's a little lip on the top. That ring just sits on it like that. It's going to locate there. It's loose until we press the next piece on, or just hold it on there. And then you're going to take this ratchet. If you actually look closely, see how this ratchet has like 2 wings that stick out, sort of?
Yeah.
If you look kind of on the end of it, one's like fatter than the other. You see how like one's kind of real skinny and one's a little fatter?
Yeah.
If you look at the end of your handle, there's a fatter hole and a skinnier hole. Those line up the right way. So it should key in one way.
This way, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you should be able to get it pressed in like kind of like with a 1/4 inch left. So now, just like before, we got the tooling looks like this. Put the base in, just snap like that, and that should sit on the top of the tool. And then, just like before, grab the manual, press it. This one won't flip, but once it goes all the way down, good catch. You have to make sure that that shoulder is lined up. Press it until it stops. There you go. Good stuff, good stuff. There you go. You have a handle with a ratchet attached. This is basically a screwdriver that does both things. Okay, no swords at the end, but you can twist that screwdriver. So now that that's done, over to station 3. Last step to get it all. You're going to take your handle piece, hold it with the open end of the handle pointing up, so shaft down. Take your big flip card, just line it up and drop it down. And then this little space is what our last press is. So just like before, you got a tool in front of you. This is the side that's facing out when you press. So in this way, you go forward. Awesome. Same thing, pressing down again. It won't click. It's closed up. It is finished. Alright. Yeah, pop that out. So now, this should be able to slide. It takes a little bit to break in with the grease. Needs a minute to spread around. So you pull that out. As you twist it, as you open and close it, it'll spread that grease around. It will press it up. That ratchet selector ring in the middle position is locked. Turn it into just a big screwdriver. Turn it left to drive left. Twist it right to drive right.
You often mention what you can, Ziz 62266 says, you often mention movies you consider perfect or close to it, like The Matrix, or Blade Runner, or Raiders. For the record, I think Matrix and Blade Runner, for the record, The Matrix and Raiders are perfect films. Blade Runner is not perfect, but its import is as high. What at the other end? What are some guilty pleasure movies? The one that you love that everyone else hates? Man, the latest one is Tenet. Christopher Nolan's film starring John David Washington, Denzel's son, also with Martin Donovan shows up, and what's his name? Cedric Diggory, Robert Pattinson. God, I love Robert Pattinson's weird-ass career. I love the strange choices he makes. I just love him as a performer. Tenet, I know a lot of people have a problem. Norm rolls his eyes every time I'm talking about Tenet. I know so many people have problems with it. It's confusing morass. I get that. I just really enjoy the world of Tenet.
10 seconds, the ring's just ahead.
Yeah. Kenneth Branagh just is the greatest scenery-chewing villain. He plays almost the exact same character in Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, and it's almost similar to the plot of the Night Manager with Tom Hiddleston, in which Elizabeth Debicki also plays them all. But I think the opening 10 minutes of Tenet are Christopher Nolan's best action sequence yet, and yet I'm including the Dark Knight bank robbery. It's right there. It's right there with the Dark Knight bank robbery. Look, I love The Rock. I love Con Air. I was once at a party after Con Air came out, and somebody goes, "Oh, Con Air," and somebody at the party, some dude was like, "What a stupid movie! I saw it yesterday," and it had only come out like 3 days before, and he was like, "What a stupid movie!" And I said, "I am curious what you went into that movie thinking you were going to get. Because as far as I'm concerned, the trailer promised every ounce of stupidity I got out of watching that movie. And I enjoyed it all the way through. So, like, if you went thinking you were going to get another movie, then I'd suggest you watch trailers more carefully. I did not talk like that. I simply said, what did you think you were getting into? Because I loved every second of it. Andy Butler and Carl Gallagher have both gifted memberships. This is becoming a thing, and I'm here for it. I really dig this. Quantum Donut, sorry, you donated 25 and you had a question, so I'll read your question. Adam, you have had a very interesting career. Can you recommend other types of careers that would be as interesting? I envy a career where one can tell interesting stories about it years later. Well, gee, I don't know whether it's the career of the storyteller. I would go this far to say that I like to imagine that my ability to tell stories is directly affected by my enthusiasm for the subject matter of which I'm describing. Moreover, I would go further to say that anybody who is good at storytelling is good at it because they have engaged at a real deep and emotional level with the material that they're talking about. So, to me, it's less about a career that itself has interesting stories around it than the person who chooses a career that feeds that part of them where they find their enthusiasm. Not everyone's able to find that. That's alchemy. That's a hard thing to go get. But when it's gotten, it's really special. And I've been asked over the years, as my career has gone from theater to television to film to television again to performing to stage work to all these different things that I've done, what I think my job is, what I think my job title is. And after all these years, I've redounded to considering that my job as a person is I'm an enthusiasm permission machine. I want to give permission to whatever enthusiasm you've got within reason. Let's be clear for those jailhouse lawyers thinking of outlying cases. Sure, there are people who have enthusiasm for stuff I don't want to know about. Forget about that. Let's talk about the fact that when you are enthusiastic about something and you want to get better at it, you are going to immerse your soul into that, and you are going to come up against obstacles to achieve that excellence, and those obstacles are going to be you. And thus, to get really good at something, you have to confront yourself. You have to know yourself. And people who know themselves are inherent, I believe, this is my thesis, that people who are seeking to know themselves or know themselves well are compelling to listen to talk about their experience because it is more direct. That's the theory. I could be totally wrong on that.
Let's go this way.
Michael Schnell says, do you have any gripes or criticisms of makers on YouTube? What mistakes do you see them constantly make? I see YouTubers make a mistake I make all the time, which is they talk about old videos. And every time I hear a YouTuber talk about old videos, I'm like, I'm not watching that video. Don't talk about that video. Talk about this video. And so I remind myself, don't say, I talk about this in an old video. I mean, it's helpful to say, the video that the link I'm referring to is in the comments. That's totally reasonable. But when you talk for a living, which is one of the things that I do, I remember everything that I've said. And so I end up repeating myself a lot because I'll give answers to questions from the stage, as I did recently, or I'll give answers to questions written down, or I'll give answers to questions in social media, and I might give the same answer all 3 times, and it feels to me like I'm log rolling on your time, when in fact each one is being given to a new audience. So I would say, in the same way that a proper essay, in my opinion, is written for a person with no previous knowledge of the subject matter the essay addresses. I believe that is a fundamental characteristic of a good essay. I think YouTube videos should be the same. I think in generally, again, as someone who talks for a living, this is ridiculous for me to say, I think often people talk too much in YouTube videos. I want to watch people make stuff. That being said, I talk a crap ton in my videos, so what do I have to say? I just end up watching a lot of stuff on mute. But that's also because I think sometimes I get surgical about the channels that I watch. Don't get me wrong, I love nothing more than calling up Ted Woodford's guitar channel and listening to his dulcet tones wax on about ancient Gibsons and guitar makers of yore. So it's not like I mind talking. Here's the advice that I give. If you're watching your own edit and your attention wanders, you better cut that thing down. That is one of the best markers of when you should be cutting material out. If you think that your fans need it, but you're finding it boring, cut it out. You're probably wrong that they need it. That would be my advice. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.
Well, gang, it looks like we got another mystery on our hands. This time is the Guinness Book of World Records scamming YouTubers. If you haven't seen over the past week, there's been a couple of YouTubers on Twitter talking about how Guinness Book of World Records is sending them copyright strikes. This is the big nuclear option that everybody has on YouTube. It's not just taking down a video, it's not just taking the monetization from a video, it is adding one of the three
Trainable. But to more.
Good morning, Hank. It's Thursday, August 3rd. It's Esther Day, and I love you. Esther Day is a holiday founded by Esther Earl, our friend and a longtime nerd fighter who died of cancer in 2010 when she was 16. And she wanted Esther Day, her holiday, to be about the other kinds of love. The love that we don't celebrate on Valentine's Day. Love between family and friends, and especially taking the time to say I love you when it's hard to say it. Now, I don't want to flatter myself and say that I was in any way involved with the creation of Esther Day, but I do suspect that part of what Esther was thinking was, my gosh, it's hard for these two nerds to say I love you to each other, and so I'm going to start a holiday where they have to do it at least once a year. But it has been hard over the years. Like, I'm about to confess something super big brothery and embarrassing, but sometimes when we were, like, just out of college, or you were still in college, and we would have like our occasional once a year or once every 6 month phone call. We'd always have these great phone calls. We'd talk for like 45 minutes. We'd have like broad ranging conversations about all kinds of things. And then when it came time to hang up, I would want to say, I love you, and I wouldn't. And then I would just be like, all right, well, take care. And then you'd hang up. And then after we hung up, I would say, I love you, but now I'm functionally forced to say it to you once a year, and actually, we have been saying I love you more in private, haven't we, Hank? Because this year's Esther Day, no two ways about it, it hits different. Your cancer diagnosis has reminded us that life is fragile, and also that we are very fortunate to be in life with the people we're in it with. It's also helped me to remember the cost of not saying I love you. I need the people in my life to know that I love them, and I need to know that I am loved. Esther saw that at 16 better than I did in 2010, and so she gave us the gift of this holiday and this opportunity to tell the people in our lives we care about that we care about them. But I don't just love you, Hank. I also really deeply admire you. There's a lot of gifts that have been given to me in my life, but very few of them stack up with the one that I received on May 5th, 1980. I'm gonna try a different way. Look, I've always known that cancer sucks. Our dad had cancer twice when we were little. It had a huge impact on his life, on our lives. I've seen cancer up close in friends and in the lives of people like Esther and her family. So I didn't need you to get cancer to know that cancer sucks. But I have been reminded anew how difficult it is for the person living with cancer, for the people supporting them, when our structures, our societal structures, are not set up to support patients and their families effectively. And after Esther died, her family set up a charity called This Star Won't Go Out that provides direct financial support to families and kids living with cancer. And I understand better than ever just how much difference supporting This Star Won't Go Out can make in the lives of those families. Because, like, Hank, we don't need money. That's not a source of stress. It wasn't a big deal for you to be able to leave your job on a moment's notice for an indefinite period of time. But for the vast majority of people, all of that and so much more isn't easy. This Star Won't Go Out provides such an essential service for families like that. So in addition to encouraging you to say I love you to the people in your life you love, especially when it's hard, I encourage you to check out This Star Won't Go Out and donate if you can. tswgo.org, link in the doobly-doo. Also, Hank, this summer has sucked, and I have this intense need to add but to the end of every negative sentence. Like, this summer has sucked, but I've gotten closer to my brother. That's true, but there are better ways where we could have gotten closer, you know? Or this summer has sucked, but I learned a lot, which is also true. You do learn a lot when you get promoted from unpaid social media intern to temporary and reluctant CEO. I would have rather learned those lessons in a different way, though. But here's a but I can feel good about. Nope. Here's a but I can get behind. Definitely not. Alright. Here's a but that works for me? No. Frick. I'm just gonna say it instead of introing it. This summer has sucked massively, but I have seen up close how much love matters, how much the love of your colleagues at DFTBA and Complexly matters, how much the love of your spouse and your kid matters, how much the love of your family and your friends matter. What we really need in this world, and all individuals that really give each other, is accompaniment and attention. To walk with each other and to listen to each other, so that none of us has to go through everything that we will have to go through alone. And so I've been reminded just how much all those kinds of love matter, and how wise Esther was at the age of 16 to start, of all holidays, this one. Hank, I love you so much. Happy Esther Day. I will see you.
Just a week ago, this channel put out a video calling the rough bottom in GPU pricing. I stated that, well, I expect some cards, like the RTX 4080, to continue to drop in price a tad, that overall, especially on the Radeon side, you should expect most cards to get drastically cheaper than the craziest sales that we've seen recently. And now I do feel the need to beat my exact point into the ground. It would not surprise me if you got some open box RX 7900 XT for like $750 or a tab below $700 in a couple months, or you managed to snag a 7900 XTX on Black Friday for like $790. But that's roughly where the floor is that I pointed out a week ago. That wouldn't surprise me. It's roughly there already, though. It's the floor. You might get a deal like I just said, but don't expect to get some 7900 XT for $550 in a couple months. It's not going to happen. The price decreases are mostly done for these types of cards. I only expect things like the 4080 to keep dropping a little bit. And you know, a week after putting that video out, if I look around, yep, it looks like prices are up a bit all of a sudden. I called it correctly, and I need to remind all of you before I get to the big leaks of this video why this is happening. It's a few reasons. Number one, demand is legitimately picking up, and recent earnings from AMD and Intel show that this is true. It's a fact. Demand is picking up. Also, I would say another reason is that, well, I think that some of these graphics cards, like an XTX below 900 or a 7900 XT below 800, legitimately hit the price point gamers actually wanted the entire time, and that's why they're selling better now. But also, there was another reason. Supply is throttled by some companies. And, well, that's mostly what this video will be about. A certain company throttling supply more than I had anticipated a week ago, and I think you all deserve to know this. You see, it seems that NVIDIA is deciding to double down on a point of view that I highlighted in a video this year, that they really do want to become an AI-first company, and thus, while they will continue to make gaming cards forever, they think their gaming cards are supposed to cost more than what we've been used to in the past, and if you don't like those prices, take them or leave them. And if you leave them, they don't care. They might not make that many of them anymore anytime demand goes down. And in fact, if you look on screen right now, you can see a quote from one of the sources that before I started recording this video gave me the okay to quote them. This person says that they aren't really selling that many 4080s and 4090s in general. The demand for these cards is not what it was last holiday season, but that there are still legitimately a handful of people that come in every week and ask for these graphics cards, but sometimes they don't have them now. They just aren't being supplied more than sometimes a couple 4090s a week, even though they suspect, and I've called some warehouses that say this is true, there are warehouses of 4080s and 4090s that are only allowed to trickle out so many cards every week. That supply is being artificially restrained, and that they don't hear they will be getting a lot more cards soon, so that this constraint is there so that things don't sell out and lower prices before NVIDIA wants them to. And yeah, that's because NVIDIA is all but entirely ceasing production on a lot of the gaming products people wish were just that little bit cheaper. And I want to get you guys some pretty incredible quotes here from some of my sources, and also go into if AMD is really able to exploit this opening and lower production at all, and that includes some leaks about Navi 32. But first, an ad from a sponsor. Getting your daily vitamins can be tricky. Sometimes it can feel like you're just shuffling from green thing to green thing, from dusk till dawn, in the hopes that you'll feel healthier tomorrow while you chew down things that taste like trees. But not me, at least not anymore. I drink AG1 by Athletic Greens. This piece of content is brought to you by the nutritional drink AG1. If you're a fan of Moore's Law is Dead, I am sure you'll have noticed that I tend to release videos and record podcasts late into the night whenever duty calls. And that used to mean drinking coffee well past 8 p.m. in order to stay alert. Well, I didn't really mind doing that. It would often leave me staying up later than usual as my mind raced until I finally got tired and fell asleep at like 4 or 5 a.m. But now, as I'm sure you've noticed in recent Broken Silicons, I just drink AG1. And that's because it's a tasty daily micro habit that makes it easy for you to absorb key nutrients, lead a healthy lifestyle, and feel your best, no matter what the day or night holds. And no matter if you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, AG1 is all of those things. Use my link below to get a 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D3K2 and 5 travel packs free with your first purchase. Even just clicking on the link helps the channel a ton, and trying out Athletic Greens through the link yourself helps even more. Seriously, try it, guys. This one is tasty and it actually does work. It's not like those other stupid supplement drinks. I actually do like it, and I've noticed it works. Support Moore's Law is Dead and support your health by getting AG1 through the link below today. Alright, so let's just go right into these NVIDIA Lovelace production testimonials. These are a handful of some of the quotes that really spurred me into making this video. Source number 1 at NVIDIA says that they have all but stopped production of RTX 4000 GPUs. Technically, they are keeping lines open for each SKU. They are making some of them every month, but this is because they have contracts with TSMC that basically forces them to do this from time to time. They can't entirely shut down production, or will they be penalized? I don't really want to get into why they have to do that, but they do. And so, in effect, although you could technically argue they're still being produced, Lovelace production is essentially in hibernation, while NVIDIA literally ships as much 4nm capacity as they can to make Hopper. Now, another source tells me, who buys professional cards for a large company, says that they've been informed that A100, this is the Ampere predecessor to Hopper, and effectively all of NVIDIA's other low-end AI offerings based on disabled Ampere and other gaming cards and stuff, that they are being discontinued, and that they should expect some of the professional GPU supply to become challenging soon. Well, unless you want to buy Hopper, that supply should be improving soon. And those will cost 3 to 5 times as much as the A100s. Some companies would prefer to buy at a lower price. A lot of people are unhappy about this. And then a third source tells me that, yeah, NVIDIA is swapping as much capacity as they can to H100, while reducing production of all other 4nm products, and also basically stopping production of 8nm and other products you would have to buy H100. But this person wanted to remind me that as far as they are aware in distribution, from what they've seen, NVIDIA's already made at least a year's worth of Lovelace already, and they're probably looking at bad sales and going, yeah, look, we might have enough GPUs for this entire year anyways if we constrain supply, so why would we make more graphics cards when we want everybody to buy Hopper instead? And so yeah, there you go. Basically, NVIDIA is watching the 4090 hovering around MSRP on online retailers, and the 4080 continue to drop well below MSRP, while even other cards like the 4070 Ti start drifting below MSRP, and they're saying, yep, we've had enough of that. Let's move everything to Hopper, and then also stop other professional and AI card production so that everybody has to buy that Hopper too, so that we can keep our earnings in the black, even though computer sales are just down. Now, to be fair, I think I would point out, and a lot of people watching this are probably pointing out, what else do you expect them to do? They have a responsibility to their shareholders. That's just a good business decision. But it is unfortunate for gamers, and it does mean that even if Radeon prices have gone down some, they've rebounded a bit, they're not going to be forced as low as you might think they're going to if NVIDIA just doesn't bother to compete in graphics cards when the market is down. Some other people might point out, well, the AI bubble pops, that could cause them a lot of trouble. Aren't they really just moving all of their eggs from the GPU crypto basket to the AI basket? And the answer is yes, that is basically what they're doing, but the fact is the GPU bubble has already popped, so they would be wise to at least bet on another bubble, even if that bubble could cause them trouble, too. But then now we have to talk about the big red elephant in the room. Alright, so NVIDIA is restricting supply of graphics cards to artificially keep their prices high in a down market. Maybe that's good business, but it's still not a chance for AMD to exploit this and take market share when NVIDIA is practically just begging them to. Well, let me put this quote on screen about Navi32. A person at AMD who I've trusted for a very long time tells me that right now they have a mountain of Navi32 supply that they've been hoarding for months while they wait for RDNA 2 to sell out. The only thing this person is unsure about is if they're going to bother releasing all of that at once, or if they're going to keep making it after the initial launch. Like, if they should really bother to do anything different than what NVIDIA's doing, right? I mean, the market is down. If it's down, is it really smart for AMD to do the opposite of NVIDIA? Maybe they're making the right decision and then AMD should just do the same thing. But I guess, I don't know. What I would say right now, though, is either way, Navi32, like I've leaked exclusively before and saying again, will be announced at Gamescom. And actually what's new today is I've heard that they may actually launch the ARC 7800 and 7700 at Gamescom, and if they don't, it'll probably just be like a week or so after that. There's not going to be this long trail between announcement and launch. Navi 32 is done. It's made. It's waiting to launch. They may just do a giant release at Gamescom while NVIDIA is constricting supply. But that's just a short-term bit of advice for people looking to buy a graphics card in the next month or so. What about this holiday season? Is there any chance AMD could up production or keep up production to try to take market share while NVIDIA's limiting supply during the holiday season? Well, I have to be honest, this is starting to feel a bit like deja vu to me, as I put out a very similar leak almost exactly 2 years ago about NVIDIA limiting Ampere production when those prices finally started to go down a little bit. And back then I was talking about how AMD could maybe produce extra Navi 23 and make up the difference. And I think they actually did back then, which, to be fair, if you go back and look at GPU pricing analysis from the time, you can see that while prices were still pretty dang bad, the AMD side was correcting much quicker, especially in the low end. And that is because AMD did, and I'm telling you this, produce a ton of Navi 23 when NVIDIA constrained production before. But, well, this is the part of the video where I was going to do a bunch of analysis of the numbers from back then and look at their earnings. But I'm going to just tell you what my opinion is. My opinion is the numbers from back then till now suggest that AMD took a blip of market share during the holiday season in 2021, but it didn't effectively move the needle that much once NVIDIA started up production and things went where they went in 2022. So I have to admit, I can't help but look at what happened before and how it's so similar to now and go, well, RX 6600s are so cheap because they made too many of them. I'm not sure AMD's conclusion from what happened a couple years ago is that that really was the right business decision for them. And unfortunately, yeah, that's kind of the sentiment I'm getting from people at AMD. Now for this part, I'm not going to put a bunch of quotes on screen because it doesn't really make sense. I'm just going to tell you the impression I get from talking to people at AMD and talking to people that work with people at AMD. The impression I get is that AMD doesn't really feel like there's any benefit in them getting more than 40% GPU market share like that. Basically, they are already biting off as much as they can chew in server. Capacity is limited at TSMC, and they think server is much more important. And while they wouldn't mind getting to maybe, 35 to 40% market share, which they're not at yet, but they wouldn't mind getting there, they don't want to be number one. And that explains a lot of their decision making. I am just getting the impression, from what I hear from people at AMD and the people they work with, that they do not even want to be number one right now because they're still building up their company. And the second they get to number one in any department, everyone will have higher expectations of them. There's going to be even more logistical nightmares that they will be blamed for, and it's setting them up to be regarded as the bad guy if they're not overly generous while they have over 50% market share. For whatever reason, NVIDIA can just get away with doing whatever the hell they want, and people just go, yeah, whatever, you know, you can bribe people to do bullshit 4060 and 4060 Ti reviews before other people are allowed to review it, but we won't say it's bad because you're NVIDIA and we expect you to be bad. I don't know. It took a long time for NVIDIA to kind of get this it's okay to be bad mindshare they seem to have right now. AMD doesn't think they will have that. And so what I basically am hearing is that Radeon, again, while they would like to chip off little bits of market share here and there, that really the main point of their GPU division right now is to not lose more than getting below 20% or 30% market share and just keep things humming along while they have the R&D in their GPU division to make console chips and APUs and laptops really good. And then if with RDNA 4 or RDNA 5 they have an absolutely mind-blowing advantage, then they will maybe go for trying to get to 50% market share. But that's years from now, and AMD just doesn't want to get there in the short term. Which, look, AMD, I can totally understand why you might think it's not a good business decision to bet more than the necessary TSMC capacity on GPU when data center is white hot and GPU's quite down versus where it was over the past few years. I get it. I totally do. And I totally get why you wouldn't go for more than you think you can easily get. But I also do think that this opportunity, this holiday season, is different than where it was in 2021. You know, in 2021, NVIDIA, despite basically lying about the price of their graphics cards, did lie about the price of their graphics cards. And I think a lot of people look at it and went, well, I don't know, demand's high, there's nothing we can do. Right now, NVIDIA isn't lying. They're saying, we think the 80 series should be $1,200 fucking dollars, and that the 70 series should be, well, it should be a cut-down mid-range card for $600. We're going to sell you 8GB cards still for $400 or more. Tough shit, everybody. And I think that really has burned a lot of people. And while your launch of RDNA 3 AMD wasn't flawless, I can't help but go that I think there's a lot of people willing to take you when NVIDIA is charging this much for their cards compared to a couple of years ago. And also a couple of years ago, NVIDIA may have halted production for like 3 weeks, but they started it again, right? It seems like NVIDIA is just betting the farm on trickling out supply for months. And this is a bigger open. They're basically saying you can go for market share if you want to, because we think AI is more important. And right now, before MI300's out, you got this chance to make extra cards and just be that extra bit more aggressive. I really do think if, for example, the 7800 is 500, the 7700 is 400, that those two cards, just that extra 10% cheaper than what I think it's going to, or what I think the original plan was, that's all it would take to take some market share in a time where NVIDIA's letting you do it. And it just, this time doesn't come around every year. This isn't a thing you're always presented with. So, look, I'm not one of those naive people that thinks that
putting shields on.
Should be $500. But it was $750. The 7800 was $500 for a 16GB card. If the 7700 was competing directly in price to the 8GB 4060 Ti, I don't know. NVIDIA's leaving the door wide open. And this is a real opportunity that is different from where it was 2 years ago and probably won't come again that often. But heck, I know it. I think you're probably just going to do $550 and $450. I've already leaked those prices multiple times, but I just think we should all be hoping there that you just go for that extra 10% in aggressiveness and make it a little extra volume, because this really is a rare opportunity, AMD.
Two Belarusian military helicopters violated Poland's airspace on a training exercise, and the Pentagon expects Ukraine's counteroffensive to continue through the fall and potentially into the winter. Welcome to your Ukraine update for August 2nd, 2023. Let's take a look at the spat between Belarus and Poland that's going on even as we speak. Let's get started. 2 Belarusian helicopters violated Poland's airspace on Tuesday in a training incident that is causing quite the waves in Poland. By local residents of the area. Pictures were sent along, but initially Poland denied an incursion ever took place. However, after additional analysis and the examination of the reports from the public, it was determined that 2 very low-flying Belarusian helicopters did in fact enter Polish airspace. The helicopters were on a training exercise as part of training Belarusian soldiers, and originally Minsk had advised Poland of the training exercise in the area, though no indications were given that they would cross into Polish airspace. Poland advised that the helicopters flew extremely low and below the radar coverage in the area, leading to the initial belief that no incursion had occurred. Poland then summoned the Belarusian Charge d'Affaires to explain the incident, stating that this was a deliberate provocation. Belarusian authorities have declaimed the incident, saying there was no such incursion that took place, and stated that they did in fact communicate the exercise in advance. This exacerbates an already tense situation between Belarus and Poland, with Wagner troops very close to the borders of Poland. After this incident, Poland moved additional troops over to the border to keep an eye on things. The Belarusians also said that Poland moving their troops closer to the border was itself a provocation. Looks like tensions are getting really high in that area between Poland and Belarus. We're not going to be spending a lot of time on the front lines today. There are some important updates, but not a lot of them. From the Kyiv Post, Ukrainian defenders have dislodged entrenched Russian forces from positions south of Andriivka near Bakhmut, quoting the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces. That sounds pretty good, but let's look at another source who's talking about the exact same information. Russian troops have withdrawn from positions south to Andriivka in the Bakhmut direction. And then there's this source, which I had to translate from Russian here, who said Ukrainian soldiers beat the Russians out of the position of Avdiivka. Now I've looked, there's been no changes to Avdiivka mentioned elsewhere, so I believe this is referring to Andriivka and indicates that they've been beat out of Andriivka itself. So I had to go to the original source, and that is the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In their post on this, it says, in the course of conducting offensive operations by the defense forces, the enemy was forced to retreat from positions in the area south of Andriivka, unsuccessfully tried to restore the lost position north and west of Klishchiivka, as well as northwest of Kurdyivka. Heavy fighting continues. So with that combination of information, here's my best estimate as to what's going on. Now this is the area just south of Bakhmut. According to my reading, the Ukrainians have pushed further on the south end of Andriivka, forcing the Russians to pull back from their defensive positions. So I'm expecting to see some change to the lines in the next couple of days as the details come out just south of Andriivka. The Russians attempted to retake positions northwest of Kurdyivka, but were stopped by Ukrainian forces. And they tried likewise north of Klishchiivka here, but were also stopped. That's my best estimate of the changes that we should expect tomorrow. I'm not going to draw additional lines on the map to estimate where those would be, but that's the best estimate I have based on the information I'm receiving. The General Staff also reports that offensive operations continue on the south end in the Zaporizhzhia sector. The Ukrainians blew up an ammo depot in Novoprokopivka, which is a small forward ammo dump just south of Robotyne, which puts it basically right on the front lines at this point. So they're trying to constrict and restrict the supplies going to the frontline troops on the Russian side with repeated strikes. And a surprise update near Volodar. We've not seen any action in this area for quite some time. And yet the overnight update indicates that the Ukrainians had actually already captured some territory here that was finally confirmed, plus they've gained some additional in a recent offensive. Quite a surprising update in an area that's been relatively quiet for a while now. Once again, I don't know that we're seeing a full-on offensive in this area. However, opening up another front might make for some interesting opportunities on the battlefield. The UK's Ministry of Defense put out their latest intelligence update. Over the last 2 months, Russia has likely started forming up major new formations to add depth to its ground forces. These include the 25th Combined Arms Army, Since its invasion of Ukraine, Russia has mainly deployed mobilized reservists to backfill established formations or as part of territorial defense infantry regiments. It has rarely established new all-arms organizations such as combined arms armies, which are designed to be a self-sufficient force. An exception to this was the 3rd Army Corps created in summer 2022, which has generally performed poorly. Russia will likely deploy any new formation as a reserve force in Ukraine. However, in the longer term, Russia aspires to strengthen its forces facing NATO. Without a major new wave of mandatory mobilization, Russia is unlikely to find enough new troops to resource even one new army. And we'll be talking about the potential for another wave of mobilization in just a little bit when we talk about what's going on inside Russia. Update from yesterday's video, the HIMARS strike on the island southwest of Kherson is estimated to have taken out 200 Russian troops gathered on the beach, and it provides some additional information. Apparently, the Russians have been doing daily formations out there, preparing for their commanders to show up. And each time they were out there for an hour or two. It seems like when they spotted it this time, they realized there was, in fact, a large formation there, and the opportunity came to roll those HIMARS into place and take these shots. Much ado has been made about Russia's vaunted Dragon's Teeth installed in Ukraine. However, there's been quite a bit of indications that they were never installed correctly in the first place. A drone-dropped grenade on this grouping of Dragon's Teeth, which were beside the sides of the road, blew many of these apart and dislodged them in quite a spectacular fashion. At least in my opinion, they're made of substandard materials, and they were not properly installed. My estimate is that these were lined up in preparation for if the Russians had to retreat to this area, they could drag these Dragon's Teeth into the road behind them to prevent the Ukrainians from passing easily. The problem is, if you can easily drag it, they're not going to be very effective at stopping a tank, which can easily drag it right back out of the place. From Supernova Plus, it's a little bit of an understanding of what's going on in Erzurum. The last line is the most interesting. The most difficult thing is to live without a normal counter battery. All with one voice, both my Vostokites and allied partners say, impotence, the most difficult feeling in front of artillery. This is just an indication that the ability to provide counter battery fire is not just a tactical need, it's also a psychological or morale boost to your team, knowing you have something that can return fire at an artillery piece that is out of your visual range, and knowing that they could be destroying the things that are shooting at you. If you know you don't have it, it's definitely going to take a hit on your morale. Let's move on to Crimea and the Black Sea for just a few moments here. The Russians have targeted more grain infrastructure in Izmail, which is on the Ukrainian side of the Danube River, right next to Romania. Defense of Ukraine reported that 40,000 tons of grain were damaged by this Russian attack. This grain could have fed millions of people in China, Israel, and many African countries. The view from the Romanian side of the Izmail port after the Russian drone strike last night, and boy is it an visually impressive spectacle right there. It's likely they took out perhaps a fuel dump or a bunker fuel storage area for the ships, and the port itself may not have taken more than just minimal damage except for the destroyed grain. Russia's continued war on grain indicates exactly what they feel about the military situation, and they're resorting to effectively civilian and food infrastructure in order to continue waging their war. Operational Armed Forces of Ukraine also reported that those were intended for the African countries China and Israel, with the Kyiv Post adding that the overnight attack on Izmail sent global food prices soaring. Chicago wheat prices jumped 6.5% in the morning, according to Reuters. Moving over to Crimea proper, there was an explosion in the Simferopol region near Gardyeskoy village with powerful explosion and they say a hat in the air. That's probably just a bad translation from Google Translate, but I'd say it's probably a mushroom-style cloud, but from the looks of it. No further details on exactly what was hit, so we're still watching out for that. Newsweek published an article talking about the additional revolts that Putin is facing, one of which is from the residents of Crimea, who have gradually been showing greater displeasure at the Russian occupation of Crimea. Military bases have been hit with Molotov cocktails, and this has forced Russia to increase their surveillance in the region. There's also additional indications that Crimeans have been reporting locations of Russian infrastructure and supplies and reporting them onto the Ukrainians for additional strikes. As Jason J. Smart stated, the reality is there are plenty of folks there who oppose the Russian occupiers and realize that the hour of liberation may be nearing, so they are keen to take part in expelling the foreign military power. One additional detail from the Kyiv Post: the village that took the strike earlier today is where an air base is located. No word on if it's actually hit the air base itself. And the insider is suggesting that the Russians and the Turks have been talking about the situation on the Danube. Specifically, they note that Turkish ships enter and leave the Danube ports without any problems at all. So there may have been some communication in advance as to exactly how far Russia is willing to go to stop the grain exports. Moving on to news from inside Ukraine. 10 more children that were taken to Russia illegally.
Yo, I have a zip line. Come here. I have a tower to get out with. Come here.
Which has saved 141 kids so far over 9 missions. Really wonderful news to see these kids coming home. They've got families and they've got a culture to come back to. Hopefully they'll have a brighter future in their home country. Usually I'm talking about the militarization of civil society in Russia. Here's some indications it's also happening in Ukraine. School children will be taught a new discipline called Defense of Ukraine, according to the Minister of Education. It will include knowledge of first aid, mine safety, UAV control, and terrain orientation. The pilot of the project is planned to be launched in September in schools of various regions. Now, first aid training, always good. That can be done in many contexts. It doesn't have to be done in context of defense. And terrain orientation, reading a map and understanding how to follow it is a great skill. Boy Scouts across America have learned it from very young. Mine safety, though, is one that is going to have to be applied no matter what at this point. A large portion of Ukraine is covered in mines. Knowing how to deal with mines, how to stay away from them and recognize them is a great piece of information in this situation. Drone control, maybe not so much. I mean, it's pretty awesome. I think that'll be an awesome deal as a civilian program, and I'm certain the kids will have fun with it. Overall, though, in the context of defense, it concerns me that these kids are gradually being taught out of a childhood because of the horrific situation that's going on in Ukraine. From the Kyiv Post, the first Ukrainian demining machine has already passed certification, according to the Ministry of Economy, and that will start a new production already that can be used domestically for demining the territories affected by the military operations. The Kyiv Post reports there are 20 demining machines in Ukraine, 3 of which are in the Kharkiv Oblast, with about 3,000 demining specialists. I think this is a wonderful new addition to the Ukrainian defense and economy and civil society. There's going to be so much mine clearing that will have to happen both in combat and in the civilian life that every field is going to have to be driven over with one of these at least once before they can even start working on planting it for the future. And even then, this might not demine every type of mine that has been left or unexploded ordnance. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that effect in the long term. Ukraine's emergency services managed to save a significant part of the unique linocuts dedicated to the Holodomor. The Holodomor was the man-made famine that particularly affected Ukraine in the early 1930s, and is often stated as being a deliberate action on the part of the Soviet Union to destroy Ukrainian culture and people. These linocuts were recovered from under the rubble of the education institution in Sumy that came under Russian missile fire. Now let's move on to inside Russia with goings-on that are probably related to the war. We'll start off with volunteers for the territorial self-defense of the Belgorod region were given weapons for the first time. These are small arms, anti-drone guns, and drones, and it sounds like they've formed 7 battalions on the border with Ukraine in Belgorod. These units have been training in the region since November 2022. Previously, it was illegal to arm these types of self-defense organizations in these regions. There's probably been some change to the law in order to allow it now, or it just could be an issue of expediency. Similarly, volunteers for the territorial defense of the Kursk region also received weapons, and they've already received pistols and machine guns, with a total of 300 weapons planned to be issued. Kursk is also a region that is next to Ukraine. The Institute for the Study of War mentioned several things related to Russian internal situations going on. Russian companies that are not under Western sanctions are recruiting volunteers to fight the war in Ukraine. Effectively, they're creating private military companies of sorts, to the point of paying recruits salaries and arming them and preparing them to go to Ukraine. This could be a situation where these private military companies effectively become like Wagner situations, where they're better paid than the average conscript, but still are performing the same types of combat work. The Institute for the Study of War also added some interesting information. Iran is pursuing the construction of drone factories in Belarus and Russia, which will help Russia acquire Iranian drones more readily and provide Iran with numerous economic and military benefits. For one thing, Iran's really good at evading sanctions and that type of thing. They will also gain the benefits of drone production facilities can now be located somewhere that's not Iran, because Iran has become quite the target lately as they supported unsavory elements in the Middle East. Not only that, this will be a great boost to the Iranian economy as they provide parts, equipment, supplies, and intelligence and workers for these new workers in these new plants. This is from 2 nights ago, so there's not absolutely current information. However, if you'll remember, there was an attack on Moscow City 3 nights ago where the Russians claimed to have shot down or disabled all 3 drones in that attack. One of those drones struck a high-rise building which contained several government ministries. 2 nights ago, then, a second wave of drone attacks also came into Moscow City. 3 drones were also intercepted. The Russians have claimed that they shot down or disrupted all 3. And once again, one of those drones impacted on the exact same building. Each time they have blamed the Ukrainians for these drones, and yet I would have to ask, where are the drones coming from that the Russians are not able to see them before they get to Moscow City? It seems like there's a whole lot of airspace that should have been defended well before then. You know what I'm saying? A 39-year-old volunteer who refused to fight was holding a grenade and threatening to detonate it in Ufa. He actually got away from a psychiatric evaluation trip, and they were spending some time negotiating him with the man demanding to call the head of the region. In the end, he did speak with a senior official and was talked down from the situation. No further word on that, except for to say that he appears to have been taken back into custody. From Baza, Russian producers of forest products suffer losses after the start of the special military operation. It affects everything, they say: the closure of the European market, the global fall in the price of timber, and the rise in the cost of logistics. For instance, 95% of the sales for some of these companies were into European markets for the highly sought-after Siberian larch and other wood products, including custom-tailored products to specific dimensions. Then the special military operation started, and then logistics problems started. In fact, getting something shipped, even through the relatively easy-to-access Turkey, went from a cost of about 80,000 rubles to 320,000 rubles. Not only that, but the world timber market has dropped in price, and there's just not going to be that much value in doing these high-end products if you can't compete. On top of that, they've lost workers. Foreign transport workers have left Russia, and the domestic ones are often ending up on the front lines in Ukraine. The end result is that these producers were forced into the local domestic market instead of the Western trade, where there is an extreme amount of competition. With the inability to charge premium prices, they've had to lay off staff and cut salaries. And that's one of the business costs of the war. In the Krasnoyarsk territory, 3 teenagers were detained for setting fire to relay cabinets. They state they were contacted by people on Telegram to do these tasks for 30,000 rubles. Baza goes on to state that the suspects, in fact, confessed to the crime and for the reason for it, and that the person that contacted them on Telegram was unknown to them. Gray Zone is talking about new mobilization going on in Russia, and there's a lot of things to be concerned about. Number one, and I'm just summarizing a lot of what they say here, prepare in advance for mobilization. If you're in the necessary groups, you might as well start getting your stuff now when it's not ridiculously expensive, because it's not getting any cheaper. On top of that, the changes in the conflict itself could be the changes in the need for mobilization. For instance, if the Russians decide to merely hold or freeze the front lines as best they can, they will not need as many conscripts as if they try to do a set of offensives. Gray Zone also calls on the Russians to actually equip their newly arrived soldiers in a new wave of mobilization. Now, of course, right now there's no official word that they're going to start mobilization. However, it's pretty clear that the Russians are starting to market the concept to their population. and set the stage for potentially having them ready for it. From the Insider, over the past 2 days, there have been about 25 arsons of military enlistment offices in Russia. They're stating the arsonists turned out to mainly be elderly people or women, but they were all victims of extortionists or scammers. The Kyiv Post added that the Russians are being tricked into setting fire to enlistment offices. Now, I don't know how I feel about the statement that these people are being scammed into doing it. It sounds like an excuse. But on the other hand, if they think they're going to get paid to do this, maybe they will. Who knows? The key here is that the arson of enlistment offices are being coordinated in some way, shape, or form, and it seems to be really taking a toll on the Russian mindset in the country. Moving on to more international news. This situation with Poland is really interesting, and I'll kind of sum it up as best I can. But the short summary I've been reading is that a Polish official complained that they didn't feel that the Ukrainians were grateful enough for all the assistance that Poland has been giving them. So Ukraine summoned the Polish ambassador to explain the comments, stating that they were very grateful for the assistance and the common goal they had to prevent Russia from expanding into their countries. Well, Poland didn't like that very much, so they summoned the Ukrainian ambassador to explain the situation. And this is a moment where I have to wonder exactly who is putting this pressure on this part of the relationship. Poland and Ukraine have a very much common enemy in this regard. They should be basically tied at the hip with how much they are concerned about what's going on. So I have to ask, what is the motivation of the official that made the statement? Was he trying to sow discord in the end? Or is this Russian misinformation at work? Vladimir Putin and Erdogan spent some time talking, and Russia outlined their positions on the grain deal, stating they'd be happy to return once the West fulfills all obligations to Russia. They then also discussed a future meeting in Turkey. Russia is complaining bitterly about Saudi Arabia's plans to hold a peace summit on the Ukraine war without including Russia, stating that this was just to put together an anti-Russian coalition. The Kyiv Independent reported the U.S. is delivering military aid to Moldova. This has been part of an ongoing package of assistance to Moldova for some years now, and its purpose is to help with the modernization and the training of the Moldovan military. That said, any assistance in the region right now is likely very welcome, with all the issues with Russia trying to take all its neighbors on. According to Politico, the Pentagon expects Ukraine's counteroffensive to continue through the fall. At the pace the counteroffensive is going, I would expect nothing less. The biggest stop to the counteroffensive will likely be the Rasputitsa in the fall. However, as long as the Ukrainians are making progress, I expect the counteroffensive to continue on. A lot of this is going to rely on maintaining an operational tempo that will make it so the Russians cannot re-equip or rebuild their defensive fortifications as time goes on. From the Kyiv Post, 1/3 of Americans, or 31%, supported moving U.S. Armed Forces troops to Ukraine, according to a Newsweek poll. That percentage doesn't surprise me. By and large, support for Ukraine is bipartisan and broad-based. In America, there is a significant segment that are opposed to it, but committing actual boots on the ground to Ukraine is a tall order for the Americans at this point in time. Financial Times reporting that U.S. President Joe Biden will ask Congress to finance arms for Taiwan as part of the additional budget for Ukraine. This would be intended to speed up the supply of arms to Taipei amid this growing threat from China. That's going to quickly turn those types of budget requests into almost omnibus spending requests for all the military aid that goes out. But we'll have to see how that turns out in Congress. From the Insider, China is pretending to control drone exports for fear of sanctions, but the Russian Federation and Ukraine will continue to buy UAVs from third countries. And this is basically how it's going to work. I mean, both Russia and Ukraine have a significant supply that they can buy from third countries. They don't have to buy them directly from China. In addition, that gives China, shall we say, plausible deniability in the use of drones in the war. That said, the restrictions have sufficient gaps that I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to supply them to one side, the other, or even both. Moving on to interesting odds and ends I found during my research. This is Dmytro Bile, an otolaryngologist who was killed on Tuesday when the Russians shelled the city hospital in Kherson. It was his first day at work after finishing his internship. Targeted strikes on civilian infrastructure, on hospitals, are not only war crimes in and of themselves, but the fact is that they are destroying the lives of people who have been doing nothing but preparing their life for helping people. Ukrainian border guards were opening fire on last night's drone attack using Iranian drones, and they did in fact take out several of the drones with small arms fired. I still cannot believe that they're able to put that kind of small arms fire onto a drone and accurately take it down. That takes a tremendous amount of skill. The 128th Separate Mounted Assault Brigade showed a captured Russian T-72 tank. And let me tell you, these things would give me claustrophobic fit. I would not want to be inside one of these, especially when under fire. Not much space, tiny cramped quarters. No wonder the tankers are generally by and large smaller than average. Just crazy. And we're going to finish off with Ukrainian artist Yuri Marmeladov unfurling the Ukrainian flag while standing on the roof of a Paris metro train. This definitely falls under don't try this at home, kids, even if you do live in Paris. And we have one piece of breaking news right before we close up the video for today. Zelensky has confirmed that Ukraine's F-16 fighter training will begin in August, with a program starting in Denmark, with a second hub being created in Romania. Alexei Reznikov signed a memorandum of understanding with 11 countries at the NATO summit in Vilnius for F-16 training. Looking forward to seeing what happens when Ukraine gets those F-16s. Hopefully they'll make a big difference on the battlefield. And that's your Ukraine update for today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you'd like to get some additional news on the world at large, the geopolitics that you would like to know without investing your entire day in, you should subscribe to Global Recaps. Global Recaps is our newsletter where we talk about the most important global events without censorship or anyone controlling the content that we provide. The email newsletter is delivered straight to your inbox and takes about 5 minutes to read. So sign up for Global Recaps at globalrecaps.com or check out the link in the description. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video.
What? $75,000 AT&T Annihilator Cup has finally come to a close, but let's not forget some of the best and funniest moments that happened throughout the way. First and foremost, when taking on Apex Week 1, it was It's Timmy having his way with everybody. Hello. With everybody. $375,000 AT&T Annihilator Cup has finally come to a close, but let's not forget some of the best and funniest moments that happened throughout the way. First and foremost, when taking on Apex Week 1, it was It's Timmy having his way with everybody. Hello. And when you take a former CSGO major winner and MVP and put him in a brand new FPS, here's what happens. But someone like Timmy finally met his match when we took to a game like Fortnite in Week 2, which was owned by the 36-year-old gamer and phenom, Dr. Lupo.
Only my fucking game, Timmy.
Look, party on the backside, though.
Tap, rack, and clear. I'm ready.
36-year-old. Not to play Fortnite anymore. Gray hair. Said it couldn't be done. Which just reminds us all, no matter what age you are, video games are for all of us. Especially someone like Jacob Bake. He absolutely loves gaming to the nth degree. As we entered Week 3 in Street Fighter 6, he was a favorite alongside Lyric, but he took it a step further, doing breathing exercises, analyzing their opponents live, and also having a coach throughout the entire competition. There was no doubt he was going to win.
Hey, I'm the jump master. Ready up.
Oh my God!
these lyrics, dude. You are freaking good and solid and patient. Let's freaking go, dude. Woo!
But quick shouts to Lyric, that was impressive. The dude is obviously a gamer. Which took us to the fourth and the best week of the entire competition, that being CSGO, where we saw Timmy take on the rest of his competitors and maintain his lead throughout pretty much, well yeah, the entire competition. But it was fun, to say the least.
Great, let's go. Great, let's go. What do you got here?
Ladies.
Nice.
Honestly, all we won. You just won a almost $400,000 event, taking home $100K for yourself, and you qualify for your first ever Apex LAN, which you could have gone to one before, but the first LAN you'll be attending. So when people like look at you as quite possibly one of the best FPS streamers out there right now, what's your response?
I mean, it is pretty incredible. I mean, like, it does feel like, you know, like I'm becoming the next like Shroud, and it's just it was such a big dream of mine to always be literally like him and to be able to like, or, you know, like fill his shoes. I mean, it's just an insane feeling.
And there were so many other great highlights and amazing moments and hilarious things that happened throughout this 4-week competition. I can't even encompass all of them in a short video across 4 weeks and 20 of the top streamers out there, but none other than It's Timmy maintained his lead and also took home the $100,000 first place prize and is your Annihilator Cup champion. I can't wait for the competition next year. It's been great being able to cover this throughout the entire way through. We did over 10 interviews, covered it week by week, posted about a lot of videos, and it was just so much amazing fun. So thanks to all of you guys who showed support, and hopefully we'll be back next year to maybe crown a brand new champion, because Jake and Bake has some brand new competition. Till next time, take care. We'll see you guys back here soon.
Let me see what Fake's talking about.
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
There's a new kill leader. Just another insect if you ask me.
They're down 97% the past year. That's actually money to be made, surely. Buy when it's low. They phase down. No way they go down another 97%. I mean, there are no more 97% for them to go down. So.
Today we have some massive stories, starting with the most wild GPU ever. NVIDIA's RTX 5090 is even better than we thought. AMD confirmed that their next GPU is on the way, and GPU prices are about to go up again. Welcome everyone to Gamer Method. First up for today, we get a new look at the RTX 4090 Ti that'll never be. And let's just say, this is on a wild card. The story comes from TechPower, and as you can see, this GPU is weird. Not only is it absolutely massive with its 4-slot design, but as you can see in this image, there's a third fan in the center of the aluminum fin stack. It's apparently a conveyor fan that helps the other two fans out. According to the original poster who shared the images, there are a total of 22 heat pipes, making this card an absolute champ in terms of heat dissipation. Unfortunately, as I went over in a previous video, the card is apparently being cancelled. This was likely made as a solution if AMD released a more powerful card than the 4090. So given they didn't, NVIDIA doesn't have a real reason to release it. Still, it would have at least been interesting to see what it could do. Next up for today, NVIDIA's RTX 50 cards are even better than we thought. But first, if you haven't started your course in computer science with Brilliant, now's the perfect time. Because for a limited time, when you visit brilliant.org/gamermeld, you can try it out for 30 days absolutely free. And while Brilliant did sponsor today's video, I can't vouch for their service enough. Simply put, they were made to teach the STEM field, and it shows. If you're the type of person who likes a more hands-on approach, Brilliant is for you. See, they teach you by getting you to actually do it yourself.
You're gonna get hit by the
sitting around
storm.
memorizing formulas or listening to boring lectures. Brilliant uses these fun and interesting puzzles so you're learning while doing it. But don't take my word for it, because when you visit brilliant.org/gamermeld right now, you'll get a 30-day free trial. So there's really no reason not to at least give them a to try. I love them and I know you will too. Plus, when you're ready for more and you visit brilliant.org/gamermail, you'll get 20% off the premium. Once again, that's brilliant.org/gamermail. Now back to the story, we have an update on specs for NVIDIA's RTX 50 cards by a new video from the known leaker Red Gaming Tech. As you can see, we have some very interesting specs when it comes to NVIDIA's next-gen cards. Starting things off, we know that these are based on NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture, but apparently it's split up into two different processes. According to his sources, the higher-end cards like the 5090 are built on TSMC's 3nm process, while the lower-end cards are using their 4nm process. Both of these are apparently monolithic dies, with the HPC part being a chiplet design. He's also hearing that next-gen will in fact use GDDR7 like we recently saw, and they apparently support 24GB modules, which means a whopping 12GB capacity on a measly 128-bit bus. So great news there. Not only that, but NVIDIA is apparently targeting 3 GHz clocks, as well as a new SM structure and nearly 2 times the performance when compared to last gen. Finally, it looks like we can expect a big performance increase in terms of ray tracing. We're talking double the ray triangle intersection performance, as well as a denoising accelerator. Ultimately, it's looking like NVIDIA is planning to go all out for their next-gen GPUs. Next up, AMD just confirmed that their next major gaming GPU is on the way. The comments come from the company's Q2 earnings call, where AMD's CEO, Lisa Su, stated, quote, "In gaming graphics, we expanded our Radeon 7000 GPU series in the second quarter with the launch of our mainstream RX 7600 cards for 1080p gaming. We are on track to further expand our RDNA 3 GPU offerings with the launch of new enthusiast-class Radeon 7000 series cards in the third quarter." So there you have it. It's coming by the end of this quarter. As far as what GPU it is, she mentioned enthusiast-class Radeon 7000, and you may be thinking that means another 7900 GPU. But keep in mind that AMD actually calls their 7900 series Ultra Enthusiast, so it's almost definitely something like the RX 7800 XT, as well as other cards, because don't forget that they said cards plural. Remember that we've been hearing about the 7700 and 7800 series for a little while now. More specifically, that they'd be coming by the end of this quarter. And of course, you'd know that if you were subscribed to the channel. So I definitely suggest doing that if you haven't already. As for why AMD's releasing these so late, we don't know for sure, but some rumors have suggested an overstock of last gen and things like that. So maybe AMD has finally gotten RX 6000 cards down to a lower stock level. Either way, AMD's next GPU is coming soon. And lastly for today, I have some terrible news. If you haven't been living under a rock, you know that AI is kind of a thing right now. I mean, everyone's talking about it non-stop. But it isn't just some fad. At least that's what companies are banking on, as they invest billions into its future. Unfortunately, like crypto's Ethereum before it, AI is mostly powered by one thing: graphics cards. So much so that a recent story broke that claims demand for generative AI has reached a level where in China, NVIDIA's H800 GPU reached as high as $70,000 per GPU. Basically, demand is beginning to outstrip supply. Which brings me to this report by Tom's Hardware. According to the story, the AI industry is beginning to turn to gaming GPUs. Proof of this comes from a tweet by the head of the Comma.ai driver assistance system, George Hotz. As you can see, he mentions the compute performance coming from AMD, with a picture of boxes of GPUs, specifically the XFX Merc 7900 XTX. According to Tom's Hardware, there are around 60 GPUs here. Not only that, but he claims that there are, quote, exaflops more to come. Basically with this, high demand in China and massive market growth expected in the coming years, we may soon face yet another massive jump in GPU prices. Hopefully AMD and NVIDIA will be able to keep up with demand, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So while that does it for today, do you think GPU prices are on their way up? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to try out Brilliant for 30 days free at brilliant.org/gamermet. And as always, have a great day.
Care package being delivered. You hear that? There's a care package coming down.
hear me? It's so clear. Really? No. No way. No way. No. I think.
Got an extended energy mag here. Level 2.
New kill leader. Go and watch out. I'm out of shotgun ammo.
Round 3. Beginning ring countdown.
Welcome to GS Daily, your prime spot for gaming content. I'm your host, Arnold. Let's get into the action.
Yeah, I don't even look right there. They said war. NYPD gonna be on dick. NYPD gonna pull up. Oh well, fuck it, bro. Chat, we going all out. Chat. I'm telling you, bro. This is gonna be a fucking movie. 14 Union Square Park, right in front of the Whole Foods, bro. You feel me? It's rather than niggas. You gonna see this big ass green sign?
Local media talking about $3 worth of fucking Doritos. Like, you know, there was a bank run or some shit. Like, also want to fucking make it seem like, you know, this is a riot that was completely out of control.
Wait, some buildings were raided, cars destroyed, people are throwing fucking fireworks. Look at the image being shown on screen. There's dog shit everywhere on the ground. Look at this shit. Like, how is this not out of control or right? It's both.
Oh,
look at this shit.
A riot that was
like, what the fuck are you even looking at?
It's tragedy porn met with also like black unruly teenagers. Look at them.
Okay. I am sorry. Yeah.
No riot.
Spotted a subject over there. 30 seconds. We are close.
Wait a minute, man.
Yeah. So.
I'm about to say the quiet part loud. Okay? Kai wants this publicity, and if I did this publicity, people in my audience would be very mad at me, right? But Kai's audience caused this. This isn't a bad look for them. This is publicity that gets more people who like this shit to follow anyway. This is a good move business-wise. I'm saying the quiet part loud right now. This is a good move for Kai because Kai is comfortable building an audience who's okay with stuff like this. Like, just straight up. That's why he's doing it. We can sit here and criticize it, but it doesn't make anyone change. All it is it gets more people who are cool hanging off the back of a car and chasing a van for a PlayStation.
Alright, so... Phew. I'm only gonna address this matter one time. And then pretty much going forward, I won't talk about it anymore. As most of you guys know, Eve and I have split up. And I really don't want to divulge or go into a bunch of personal details about our relationship on stream or on Twitter. So I hope everyone can respect that.
And that's it for today's highlights. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
Enemy spotted. Cancel. Let's go that way.
Firing on subject.
No way. It's not like you want it. I'm giving it. She did the water on my cheek first. looked down and I was like,
Spotted. Double tagging it.
no one wants to see me.
Excellent. First station I need to do. This one called the big clip, so that's what holds all the different bits. So big clip, and first thing we're going to do is just put them grease. So there's some tubs. Get some basically on this gigantic Q-tip, and you're basically just going to get a little bit on the end there. And yeah, so they end with the 6 spokes. So that's the end. You're going to put a little bit of grease in the middle. Yep. Yes, that's a good amount. And then the next step is you're going to grab this little guy. We call it the cleaning pin. That's a little spring. So there's an input hole. That's the end that you want to put into the hole you just greased. And then you're going to grab your end cap here, and you're just going to sit it on top of that thing that you just greased with a little hat. And in front of you now on the presses, there's a tool that looks like this. This is the side you're going to look at. Press. You're going to just rest it in there, and then this little thing you want to stay lined up. So you want to just get it rested on there like that. Now when they're all ready to go, pull that handle. This is going to come down and press, and this is going to make it click when it's done. When it clicks, that is first step. Perfect. So first step, all of it, we can pull that out. And now we are basically ready to head over to station 2.
Buddy, you know this will appreciate what it's like country.
Take a handle. I'm just going to take that little accent. And then there's a little lip on the top. That ring just sits on it like that. Just going to locate there. It's loose until we press the next piece on. Or just hold it on there. And then you're going to take this ratchet. And if you actually look closely, see how this ratchet has like 2 wings that stick out, sort of? Yeah. If you look kind of on the end of it, one's like fatter than the other. You see how like one's kind of real skinny and one's a little fatter? Yeah. If you look at the end of your handle, there's a fatter hole and a skinnier hole. Those line up the right way. So it should key in one way. This way. Yeah, exactly. And you should be able to get pressed in like kind of like with a 1/4 inch left. So now, just like before, we've got the tooling looks like this. Put the base in, this stuff, and that should sit by itself. And then, just like before, grab the handle, press it. It's more of a wall point, but once it goes all the way down, good catch. You have to make sure that that shoulder ring is lined up. Press it until it stops. There you go. Good stuff, good stuff. There you go. So now you have a handle with a ratchet attached. This is basically a screwdriver that does both things. Okay, no bit sore to the end, but you can twist that screwdriver. So now that that's done, over to station 3, last step to get it all put together. Now, you're going to take your handle piece, hold it with the open end of the handle pointing up, so shaft down. Take your back part, just line it up and drop it down. And then this little space is what our last press is. So just like before, you've got a tool. In front of you, this is the side that's facing out with the press. So in this way, you draw it forward. Awesome. Same thing, pressing down again. It won't click, but once the gap is closed up, it is a finished screwdriver. Alright. Yeah, pop that out. So now, this should be able to slide. It takes a little bit to break in because the grease needs a minute to spread around. So when you pull that out, as you twist it and as you open and close it, it'll spread that grease around. And it will smooth out a little bit. There you go. That ratchet. Select your ring in the middle position is locked. Turn it into just a fixed screwdriver. Turn it left for drive left. Twist it right for drive right.
You often mention what you can, Ziz 62266 says, you often mention movies you consider perfect or close to it, like The Matrix or Blade Runner or Raiders. For the record, I think Matrix and Blade Runner, for the record, The Matrix and Raiders are perfect films. Blade Runner is not perfect, but its import is as high. What are the other end? What are some guilty pleasure movies? The one that you love that everyone else hates? Man, the latest one is Tenet. Christopher Nolan's film starring John David Washington, Denzel's son, also with Martin Donovan shows up, and what's his name? Cedric Diggory. Robert Pattinson. God, I love Robert Pattinson's weird-ass career. I love The Strange Choice.